So everybody asks, Bethany, I want to invest in real estate, but I don't have any money. So one of the best things I've been able to do is to show people how they actually have money that they just didn't know about. So one of the simplest, easiest, fastest ways that most everybody has that they don't know about is they have money sitting in a retirement account. Now that retirement account can sometimes be a 401k, could be an IRA, could be a self-directed IRA, could be a EQRP, could be, what's the other one? There's a SEP. There's lots of different 401k type retirement settings that a lot of companies have that people have money in that they're unaware of. What they're also, they're aware they have money in, but they are unaware that they can use that money. In these retirement accounts, you can always, by government, IRS, you can take a loan out against your retirement account of up to $50,000 or half of what is the amount that's in there. So if you only have $25,000 in there, you can only take, $12,500 out. But if you have $100,000 in there, you can only take $50,000 out as a loan against your retirement account. So that's the first, easiest, simplest way to get $50,000 right away. In our multifamily deals, our minimum investment is a $50,000 buy-in. Buy-in, that's not the right term, $50,000 to opt into the lending opportunity. But what also people don't realize is on some of our short-term lending situations, the same is also true. And our minimum depends on each deal, but oftentimes is between $50,000 and $80,000. So this is a quick, easy way. When you take a loan out against your 401k, yes, the money comes out of your 401k and it goes into whatever item, real estate transaction you've used it for. So definitely don't take that money out and just go spend it. By all means, only use it for the intended purpose, which is to grow your retirement. So the way you do this is if it's a self-directed or IRA or 401k, that's even easier, and you can actually do more in those self-directed ones because you control where those funds go. So you don't have to do a loan of $50K because you're actually directing the investment, so they can go all the way up to 100% investment on those accounts. But most everybody, this is the traditional way that most everybody knows, fastest, simplest, cleanest. When you take a loan out of your retirement account, that loan has to be repaid back within 5 years and 5% interest. Now, the great thing about that is you are paying the interest back to yourself. So instead of going to a bank and getting a loan and paying them interest, you're paying yourself. So you're still accomplishing your goal, building up your retirement, but you're also, all that money is flowing right back into you and you have control over it. So let me show you an example. Some of our short-term lending opportunities that we have, someone takes a loan out of their retirement account for $50,000, okay? They become lien holders on our properties. When they become that lien holder, they have a vested interest in that property. It is documented on title, it's documented on insurance documents and through contractual, through promissory notes, things of that nature. So they become this lien holder, all right? So they're loaning out this $50,000 that they're having to pay back at 5% interest to themselves. They're loaning that out, in this case, to our company. Those companies, the great thing about this, when they're a lien holder, they're loaning it out sometimes as high as 10 to 12% interest. So right away, they're loaning this out, they're doubling their money. Now remember, they only owe their retirement this $50K and the 5% interest. And that's amortized over the 5 years, okay? So you could take, if you were to loan out that, most of our short-term lendings are 6 months to a year. So you could take that extra 5% interest and you could set it aside in a different account. So the benefits of that are, what we teach people to do is to set it aside in a self-directed, like an EQRP account. So it still stays in retirement funds and things like that. You're still building, or if you choose not to, then they just set up a separate LLC that they're using as a passive income. It's a disregarded entity, another tax savings possibility there. So many ways and so many folds that we can unravel for you to continue to save and grow your money as you control it. But then other people just take that and dump all of that 10 to 12%. So their money is gaining that extra 5 to 7% because they simply pulled it away from the stock market and pulled it out of this retirement account. And then all that goes back in there and they're gaining. So they're getting a much higher return on their investment, but still going into the retirements. It's a great way. It's a quick and easy tool, and it's accessible to anybody and everybody who has a retirement account. When you take out this loan, there's no questions asked. One of the things that a company tried to maybe misinform would be the right words. They didn't want the funds being pulled out because of the type of structure they had. They wanted the funds to stay in there. So they informed their employees that they could only take it out if they could only take a loan out if it was they were buying a new house or they were adopting a child. And they literally said those are the only reasons. And they were training everybody that was it so that the money stayed in their accounts. The problem with that is it's not true. The IRS has very clear definitions, and you can take a loan out for whatever reason and it can come out for that purpose. So this is a great tool, super fast, super easy. Most everybody, they may not have 100K in their retirement account, but this is sure a way to grow it quicker than what you're currently doing. The average 401k is only growing at 4% a year. So in this case, you could have 6 to 8% growth on that. And it would still be tax deferred, and all the other benefits that would still apply. Okay, so that's the fastest, easiest, simplest way. If you set up a separate or a self-directed IRA or a 401k, you have even more choices, because if your balance was $100,000, you could loan that full $100,000 and make that full 12% and all of that. Okay, so that's the fastest, easiest, smoothest transaction. The next one is retirement account. So the second one here that many people do not realize and are not taking advantage of it is HELOC, home equity line of credit. Most of us work hard to pay off our homes and to have all that equity sitting in there so we don't have a bill when we retire. Okay, what if you could do that faster? You can. I'm going to show you right now. All right. So many of us often don't even pay attention. We just pay our monthly mortgage and it's paying down our loan, but we don't often pay attention to what our current home value is and how little we owe left on that loan to know how much equity we have in it. Over on our side of the state, a lot more homeowners have equity in their homes than they realize because the values have grown so substantially. And so what good example, for instance, if you bought your home at $200,000, but now your house is valued at $400,000, well, you have $200,000 of equity in there, possibly even more depending on how much your loan has been paid down. Okay, so the thing about a HELOC is right now rates are still really, really low. Okay, so all that equity is sitting in your home, and that's your money. So basically, most people don't get that money until they sell their home and move out. But you actually can access it now. Right now, you can access it through a product such as a home equity line of credit. The great part about that is you can get it set up, and if you never decide to use it, no big deal. Or if an emergency or something comes up, now you can do it. It's much along the same lines as the retirement. So a home equity line of credit, let's go back to our same scenario. If we have a $400,000 home that we only owe $200,000 on, we have that $200,000 in equity. They would draw up the home equity line of credit. It works like a checking account. And if we needed access to those funds, like in this case, if they wanted to become a lien holder on some of our short-term lending situations, they would simply write a check for the amount that needed to be covered and sign all the agreed upon contracts that state the amount and the rate of return and all of that. And then on a HELOC, you would have a fixed rate of sometimes 5%. I think some of the HELOCs I've seen are 4.75 right now. Some of them are at 5.25, again, depending on your credit. So that amount, you just pay it back. In this situation, if you don't use it, obviously you don't owe anything, you don't pay anything, but it's available to you. If you choose to use it, once again, if your HELOC rate is only 5% and you do the same scenario here where you loan it out at 10 or 12%, Well, now you're making another 5 to 7% on that money. So again, two things. You could turn around and take all that interest that you've now gained on that money, dump it right back into your house, pay off even more if you wanted. Or you could do the same scenarios up there. You could turn around and invest all that extra. You could start a retirement account if you don't already have a retirement account. Many of the 2008 crash got burned. And when they got burned, they really pulled everything out of their 401ks and they were absolutely against using it. And I agree. We need to be very, very mindful. But the retirement account wasn't the problem. It was what those retirement monies were in that was the problem. Those retirement monies were sitting in stocks and bonds, which, as we know, the market crashed and all of that was wiped away. And that's the thing about stocks and bonds. There's no real asset. And so in this situation, when you're investing in real estate, you have a hard-backed asset. It's a physical thing. You can reach out, touch it, grab it. You can see it. It's there. And so it also holds real value. It's not a speculative number. It grows at a rate that's determined by the area and things like that. So the growth and how many people are coming in. I mean, as you can see, we all pay our homeowners taxes every year. Guess what happens? Every year, my taxes don't go down. They go up. My property value continues to go up. So you can count on that. You can bank on that. You can't always count and bank on that with stocks. So real estate is a much less risky as far as that goes. There's always risk that's involved, like in '08, right, where the house values just dropped. On one of our properties, we were over $100,000 upside down on that property because of all the market and how much it tanked. So that just means we had to wait a little bit longer. We weren't able to sell then. We had to wait for the market to recover and come back. All the markets are cyclical. So if it comes down here like we were in '08, '09, it comes back up. You just got to wait it out. So in this situation, when you take a HELOC out, if you take it out now where the market is high, if you're over on our side of the state, west side of the state and Pacific Northwest, we have a market is still really good and strong. So the value is going to be as high as it is right now. You're going to get the most amount for that HELOC. Okay, where if you wait, we start to go down again. Now, and maybe your house doesn't appraise at 400. Instead, maybe it only appraises at 350,000. Okay, so that's what I mean. Taking advantage of the market where it's at, utilizing that, setting up something like this, then you can turn around and in this situation, you could do a lien holder scenario. You could pull that money out and use it to fund a retirement account. You could use it to, there's all kinds of different things and ways that you can do it, but don't go out and do things like just go buy a vehicle. There's no asset there. You want something that's going to grow and bring value to you, but not just, if you have access to that and you just use it like a credit card and you just spend it on groceries and going out to eat, it's like water. It just runs through your hands and disappears. So we're not trying to do that. We're trying to help you accumulate and grow your financial picture. And so these are some of the things that if you want to learn how to become wealthy, do what they're doing. These are some of the things that they're doing. One of the other things that they're doing is they're pulling out places like this, either a HELOC or retirement account. They're using it and they're funding their life insurance policies. And those life insurance policies, we set up another webinar on that with Eric Kubelo. So if you haven't checked that out, you'll want to check it out. We show how Rockefeller and Carnegie and them, how they set up these life insurance policies. And that's what they used to fund and build. Even Trump built some of the Trump towers with life insurance monies, things like that. Another way to save on taxes, the government gives us these places that, look, if you'll do this, we'll reward you by not having to pay taxes. So we want to help continue to educate and show you those tools. So your retirement account, first and foremost, easiest, smoothest. Second one, the HELOC, it's going to take a little bit more time, right? Because you got to go to a bank, get a lender, things like that. You can do it online nowadays. There's a lot of tools like that make it super simple and easy. If you don't have a local bank that you currently work with, always check with them first, but don't feel like you have to and only go with them. I encourage people to reach out to some of the smaller local credit unions in their area, because oftentimes they are what's called a portfolio lender. And a portfolio lender is able to do more flexible things. And so, for instance, one of our credit unions in our areas, you don't even have to pay for an appraisal. they'll give you 100% of your tax assessed value. So whatever the auditor has for the county has already said your house is worth this much, they'll give you 100% of that without even paying for an appraisal. So you don't have to spend that money. Another one of ours, they pull something called an AVM, average market value. Okay, so that particular one, they only usually do a percent of it, 75 to 80%. So in this scenario, checking out other people, for instance, we have a banking relationship with Chase. I would not use Chase for a home loan just because I know they're institutionalized. It's kind of cookie cutter, plug and play, and I'm just a number to them. I don't mean anything. There's no value to them, so they really don't care. They're not working that hard to help me get the best loan or product I can have. Where a lot of these smaller institutional credit unions, community banks, they work hard to get you the best product because they're going to see you every single day on a regular basis. They're going to see you in the community and they want to stick around. So they want to make sound investments and they want to do the best they can. So that's another one. Another scenario where you may not know that you have money and you could access it. All right, so a third one, which takes more time and effort, which is why not as many people do it, but is still just as good and just as valuable, and that is side hustle. What do we mean by side hustle? Well, a side hustle just simply refers to something that you're doing on the side, right? It's not maybe your 40-hour W-2 income producing potential, but it's just something you do on the side. Maybe if you do photography and you really love taking pictures, you start taking pictures for people and start charging them a fee. Maybe you are really handy with your hands and you do side handiwork for people in your neighborhood. Other people, what we've worked with youth for so many years, and youth always struggle with trying to find ways to earn money, especially if they're under 16 or in some areas under 18. There's so many child labor laws and things. So what we've encouraged them to do is to think creatively and outside of the box. One of the things that we always encourage people to do is you would be surprised what you have in your own home. Many of us, especially if we've lived in the same place for an extended period of time, we accumulate stuff. And it just sits there and it does nothing. We don't even see it. We haven't even pulled it out of the box or pulled it off a shelf. We have no idea it's even still there sometimes. I still have boxes in my garage I've never even opened from the last move 13 years ago. So I know exactly what I mean when we have stuff. It happens. So what we've suggested to people is one of the simplest, easiest tools now is go through your stuff. Take an afternoon and go through your garage. Or even better yet, if you have a young person, let them go through your garage. Have them make a pile of anything they think they could sell. Okay? So what you do is you have them go through the garage, you clean out all the stuff, you set up aside a pile. You look at the pile, you verify, yep, you can sell those items. I'm happy with it. And then they make a percent, but they sell the products for you. So they can put them up on OfferUp, they can put them up on Facebook Marketplace, they can put them up on eBay, even Amazon. There's all kinds of places. And you would be surprised at how much stuff you could actually sell. When we were going through one of our recent construction projects, we had a bunch of miscellaneous odd and ends, like a leather jacket and a scooter that our kids never really used, or I'm trying to remember it was just random stuff. It wasn't of anything, a light fixture that we never got put in and now it's not going to fit with the project, so we need to get rid of that. A door, just random stuff. We put that stuff out on OfferUp. You take a few pictures, you say what it is, done, you send it out. And then people just come and purchase it. So it was easy, it was streamlined, it was not a problem. It's already taking up space in your house, right? So you might as well, if you're not doing anything with it, it's not going to hurt it for it to stay. And if you post it and you put this out there, then now you can actually move some of it. So we were able to move, I think we only have one thing left, actually. We have one door left. I think that might be it. Everything else has been sold. And it's simple. It's streamlined. OfferUp is a great one. I know there's many other apps that are out there. If you don't know, ask a young person. I guarantee you they know. Exactly. But one of the other things that they do is we've extended that to our youth groups and different places like that. So if you have, for instance, projects and things that need done, we offer it to them, and then with the youth group raises the money and whatnot for it. But in this situation, you can flip it. So what I mean by that is when you flip it, maybe you love doing yard work, right? So you go around the neighborhood and you find out, do you know how many people would love to pay somebody to do their yard work because they really don't like it or they don't have time? And if you're reasonable, we're not talking, full landscaper service, license bonded, that kind of thing. We're talking about on the side, right? Your prices should be reflective of that, much lower. If you're reasonable and willing to do that, they would rather pay their neighbor any day of the week. And maybe you just do that once or twice a month, right? Sometimes we have friends that they actually go and they run errands for people. Yep, they get paid to go run errands. So they'll go to the grocery store for them. They'll pick up their medicines. Sometimes they're taking them somewhere back and forth. A lot of senior citizens and whatnot, yes, they could use ride share and different things like this that the government provides, but they're skeptical of them and they don't like the impersonal feel. So some people would prefer to have their neighbor come pick them up and do this. Now, granted, yes, we should do this for free for our neighbors and our friends. But I realize not everybody is willing to do that and give their time. So you could easily be willing to and say, oh yeah, I'll go take you here and this and that, and just pay for my gas or something like that, right? But you can do that. So if you set aside even just say 5 hours a week, you might be surprised what you could do. We have people on Upwork and Fiverr. So some people that we know love to write. They love to write articles. They love to do research. They love to do all that kind of stuff. So what they've done for their side hustle is they have gone onto Upwork and put themselves out there as a contractor. Look, I'll write articles for you. They'll research information for you. These are things that can be done virtually, not necessarily in person. Sometimes you can help set up computer networking programs and things. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but I know that there are computer software programs and things that you can do. Some people they are familiar with QuickBooks. They do it every single day for their job. So on the side, they do a couple people's QuickBooks bookkeeping for them. Easy peasy. And it's already something they already know how to do. So it's not even anything outside of that. They're just taking a little bit extra time. So they just set aside 5 hours a week for that. Well, that adds up pretty quick. And so if you turn around and you just put that aside and you put that aside, we're not talking about giving up every single hour of every single day and never existing and doing anything fun. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just making a commitment to maybe not watch the average 5.4 hours a day that Americans watch of TV. Oh my stars, I cannot believe that. That is terrible. That is horrible. 5 hours out of every 24 hours. That's not 20%, like 17% of your day sitting in front of a TV doing nothing. That is just a huge waste of time, right? There's so many other things that you could do. But if you just did it one day that you chose not to do that 5 hours of TV, that one day you chose to put towards a side hustle, you'd be surprised. Some people just go out and deliver pizzas. Now they have Uber deliveries and Uber Eats and Grubhub and all these other places that you can be a driver. You could literally go pick up people's food from the restaurant or fast food place and drive it over to them, and you get paid to do it. And that's all you have to do. It's not rocket science, right? It just takes time. So if you have time, this is a good way to make some extra money that you may not have thought about. All right. And then in doing so, you can train other people. We know people that actually they started out mowing lawns as a kid. And before they graduated high school, they set up their own lawns service business. And that business helped fund them through college because they established this long before. And they kept all their teenage buddies and whatnot employed. And they just kept recircling through. When they went off to college, they'd bring in other people and back and forth. So it's a great thing. And you never know. You might become really proficient at something and be able to actually even leave your W-2 job because you're making so much more money on your side hustle. So whatever it is, these are just 3 of the simple ways and options that you have that you might be surprised that you didn't know that you have money, but you really do have money. And most everybody has at least one of these. In fact, everybody has time, right? So we could all do a side hustle, right? But there's always, it's more about your mindset. What do you want to do? If you really want to invest in you and your financial future, then you need to take control of that financial future. And by doing so, I mean, don't just sit there and wait for your boss to give you a raise. Be the employer that stands out so much that they can't help but give you a raise every single time because you're outperforming everybody else. Don't settle for status quo. Or in your spare time, learn some other skills and other things that could either bring value to your current job that you're at, right? Or something that just interests you that you really enjoy that now becomes a side hustle, which ultimately may end up creating more money and more funds, and you could quit your W-2 job and do your side hustle full time and be enjoying what you do. We've seen that happen time and again. So there's lots of ways and lots of things. These are just the top 3 that we tell people all the time because they almost always apply in one way or the other to all of us. So it's up to you to determine what you want to do for your financial future. But it first takes sitting down and determining, where am I at right now? Am I living within my means? If I'm not, the first thing you want to do is set a budget to start living within your means so you're not creating more and more debt. The next thing you want to do is start figuring out a way to, in essence, multiply your money or your time so that they can continue to grow even despite you or your situation or your job or your health or any of those things. So if you'd like help in any of these areas, we're happy to set up a time, a free phone call. Give us a call, 360-386-7493. You can schedule a time. We'll help you work through and see what might be the best, easiest scenario for you, and then run with it. By all means, run with it. Take control of your financial future. Hit those goals. If you don't have any financial goals, you need to get some. We all need to have a direction that we're heading because time will pass by all of us. The question is, do you want to control the time that you have, or do you want to let everybody else control it for you? I hope you don't want to let everybody else control it for you, and I hope you want to take control of your time and your financial future. So if you feel so inclined, give us a call. If not, look forward to next week's video. We always have new things coming, so if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you're always up to date on new and videos that are coming out. We've got some great stuff coming in 2020. We're going to be diving in a little bit more deeper on some of how do you determine a deal is a deal. People want to know about real estate, things like this. What do we look at? What are the things we do? So we want to do those things for you and continue to be a tool and a resource for you. The teacher in me always loves helping the light bulb go off in you. So if we can do so in any way possible, by all means, give us a call, 360-386-7493. As always, you can jump over to our website and check it out there as well. It is constantly evolving. Our website is constantly growing, so be patient. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye for now.